Hey guys, Pete Tansley here from PeteTansley.com, and today I want to share with you my 2018 industry predictions and trends. I want to look at where the industry is going and how you can have your best year ever in business. So let's dive right in. So the number one thing, the first thing to succeed in 2018 is to be a go-giver. Now, what do I mean by go-giver? By go-giver, I mean you're not just someone who's just selling personal training or boot camps. You're doing great things for the community. You're putting great content out. You're being fun. You're being entertaining. And you're really giving back to your community. So a few ways you can do this. One of them is to run regular charity workouts or charity months if you have an online business. So you get your community together, you get the local baker and butcher and health food store and supplement store to come down, and you run a kick-ass event every month or every other month for a charity that's near and dear to you. Now, this does a couple of things. A, it gives back. I think we all have a responsibility to give back and to do something for a local family or a local cause who needs us. But it also brings other businesses and other communities together to your facility. And if everyone's coming there, what does it do? Well, it puts your facility, at the forefront of everybody's mind. So you're giving back, you're doing some great stuff for the community, and you're stepping up as a leader. Now, some other ways you can be a go-giver. So charity workouts is a great way to do it. Another way is just putting out great content on a regular basis. Now, what I mean by this is in 2018, the days of just giving, information about chicken or broccoli or high intensity training, it's probably been done a bazillion times. So you're going to have to be a little bit different. So you can give some great content. You can share great stories, use videos, use tips, get the kids involved, mix it up a little bit, but always be giving great value. It's like Gary Vee says, just give, give, give. And then when you eventually do ask, you've built up this goodwill. So you want people to, I've said for years, you want people to know, like, and trust you. And you do that by giving heaps of stuff to the community, to your social networks, to your email list. You're always giving great stuff to them. So thing number one is to give. Think every single day, every single week, every single month of next year, how can you give more and be a real go-giver in your community? So thing number one is to be a go-giver, which will set you up for a killer 2018. Thing number two is transparency. So what do I mean by transparency? I mean, you're not always showing up as this perfect, amazing fitness professional and personal trainer. What I mean by this is you're telling it like it is. You're being really, really transparent. You're telling stories and using videos of how you had a bad day of eating and perhaps turn that around, or how a struggle that you've had recently has shaped who you are. By being transparent, you're dropping this mask of perfectionism. And I think today, especially with Facebook, with Instagram, with Snapchat, people are wanting to show up to be perfect. But when you show that you're not perfect, it actually humanizes you. And when you're humanized, when your prospects and future clients and current clients see that, hey, he or she is not this perfect machine who eats perfectly year round and works out for 6 hours a day, when they see that you're a human, you are relatable. If you think of any movies you've watched recently, if there was a movie you didn't quite love, it's probably because the character development was off. And if you look at great characters in any movies, think of great series on Netflix or movies with a leader that has a cult-like following. Batman, Spider-Man or Superman, Dexter, House. All these people, right, they have amazing qualities, but they also have flaws, which we actually fall in love with. So when you're transparent, you can show some of your flaws in your character, and that humanizes you to your audience. So you're not making anything up. You're not saying that something that's not true, but you're just letting some cracks show in your armor, and just start by revealing some little things that maybe are uncomfortable to tell. But when you do that, when you show transparency, when you're slightly vulnerable, when you share some stories, your audience will relate to you much, much more. I've been sharing stories about, how 5 or 6 years ago I moved back home with my mum. I was broke and I was depressed. I've shared stories about my failures, about relationships ending, about limiting beliefs. And none of those things are made up. They're all true, and they were tough to share at first, but it humanizes you. Now I've found more and more people can relate to my story because I'm sort of letting the truth come out a little bit, okay? So thing number 2 is to give transparency. If we go to part 3 of my trends, you need to be a great coach. You can't just be good at the sets and reps of the exercise part. You need to be great at getting actual results. There's a funny thought. We actually get results for our clients, right? So the way to do that is to think a little bit more than just the 1 hour you're with someone. You know, if you're lucky, a client will see you 3 or 4 times per week for 30 or 45 or 60 minutes. But what happens in those other 23 hours? That's what's going to set you apart in 2018. So you need to be dialed in with your nutrition, and that doesn't mean just throwing a 20-page meal plan at somebody. It means actually coaching them through it. And often it's about making smaller changes at once, not massive changes. So you need to understand, and you need to understand habit-based coaching. As in, how do you change habits 1 at a time or 2 at a time, as opposed for clients that are trying to change, 50 things at once? You're helping them choose one, stick to it, and then choose the other. The other thing you need to be great at is someone's identity. If someone still sees themselves as a 100-kilogram or a 200-pound man, they're going to act in accordance to that. So we need to be able to shift their inner feelings, their inner identity, before they actually get lasting change. Have you ever noticed that some clients, and perhaps early in my career I can relate to this, and so can a lot of my clients early on, they'll get amazing physical results with a client. Sadly, that client will put the weight back on in 12 weeks or 30 weeks. Because what they've failed to change is their identity. So to be a great coach in 2018, it's more than just sets and reps and rest intervals, right? You have to have all aspects of coaching covered. Nutrition, habits, identity, self-talk. All those things have to transform so you can, transform thousands and thousands of lives. So you need to be a great coach. Gone are the days of just being great for that 30 minutes and then nothing else. You need to have systems and the inner hardware set up that you can administer great change and massive transformations with your clients. Let's go to thing number 4. Thing number 4 is actually getting amazing results for your clients. Isn't that a funny thought, right? Now, a couple of ways you can do this. Number 1, you need to have a system set up that perhaps from day 1 you do some photos and some measurements, whatever your style of training is, and that's re-measured every 2 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks with you and your team. Perhaps you have some weekly check-ins, some check-ins around sleep, some check-ins around their habits, about how their change is going. You need to have some systemized ways that you can take on 30, 50, 100 plus clients and you can guarantee results for all of them. When you can guarantee results, you can then give a risk reversal or a guarantee upon sign-up. You can say, hey, if you don't think this is the best program ever, I will double your money back after 30 days. Now, if you don't have the systems around getting results, you're probably going to go broke giving all these refunds out. But if you know you have systems in place where nobody falls through the cracks, you're working on habits, you're working on the inner game. If you have a facility, maybe they have 20-minute check-ins once a week or once a fortnight via Skype or via telephone or via in-person. If it's online, perhaps you can have some check-in programming daily or weekly to make sure nobody falls through the cracks. If you and your team can look out for orange flags, red flags, people who are missing workouts, falling off check-ins and that sort of thing, and have a system to follow them up, then you can offer a risk reversal. So it's very, very odd that I'm even talking about results, right? But if you get amazing results with all of your clients, you will really never have to sell because they will come, they will stay, they'll get amazing results, and then they will refer. If you're getting great results with a client and you're building a relationship, referrals are just a natural byproduct of that. And referrals are the cheapest, best source of leads you can have because they already know, love, and trust you. They come from a trusted source, an existing client, and the sales process is easy because they already know your prices and know how you work. So getting results, you need to be obsessed with this. You need to think about this all the time, right? How can I have a better experience? give a better experience? How can I get better results with all of my clients? Thing number 5 is the ability to sell. Now again, there seems to be a lot of trainers who are fearful around selling. Look, I want to be super blunt on this. Your business will succeed or not succeed based on how well you sell. So it makes sense to master selling. Sales shouldn't be this awkward, pushy thing where you get sweaty and awkward and you don't know where to look. It should be a natural conversation. Now, how to get great at this is a couple of tips. Number 1 is to have a framework. Now, you might not necessarily need a script that's written word for word, but definitely a framework with some key questions, some key themes. The thing with selling, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Most personal trainers think they need to have the gift of the gab and they over-talk. But selling is more about this. It's more about listening to your prospect, seeing what he or she needs, and then if they're a good fit, suggesting 1 or 2 programs which would be a good fit for them, right? So it's a really, really simple thing. So you must have some framework. You must ask great questions and actually listen. Man, the amount of trainers I've worked with and witnessed who can't listen. Listening is like such a forgotten art today. Everyone's so busy racing between things. Even their own partner, their husband or wife, they don't feel listened from them. So if you can truly listen to somebody, especially in that first consultation, they're going to feel so understood, they're going to feel so cared for, and they're going to trust you, okay? So you must listen when you're selling. Another tip on selling is instead of trying to impress them with how great you are, why don't you think of it like this? Think of it of assessing them to see if they're a good fit or not. So instead of me trying to convince you how great my program is, how good my results are, my list of qualifications, I've got 37 certificates this year, no one cares about that. Instead, ask great questions and just assess if they're a good fit for you and your culture and your team. If not, don't let them in. But if they are, suggest that they work with you, okay? One other thing is to just give fewer options. So at the end of a consult, instead of giving 27 options of your one-on-one or your bootcamp or your hybrid or whatever your programs are, just give 1 clear option and move forward. Lastly, to wrap up this chunk on selling, I want you to know that making money, making a good income for what you do is not evil. It's not bad. Being able to sell, look, if you want to help more people, you have to make more sales, and nothing happens until a sale is made. So get the framework, ask great questions, listen really, really well, give fewer options, and remember, money is not bad. You can't help your community, you can't improve your facility, you can't hire new team members, you can't look after your partner and take your kids on holiday if you're not making a great income, and you deserve to be. And remember this, nothing happens until a sale is made. So that client can't be helped, you can't help change their family's habits unless the sale is made, okay? So I think part of selling is the head trash around making money or asking for the sale or being pushy, and the other part is the strategy. So you need both to master sales in 2018. All right, we're up to number 6. And I want to talk about focus. Here's what most trainers do. They are on Snapchat trying to film all their meals. They are recording Instagram stories and Facebook lives. They're doing podcasting and YouTubing and letterbox drops and all these things, but that's not how you grow a successful business. Look, I want you to be able to grow your business in 2018 to 300,000, 500,000, even to 7 figures, to $1 million if you want, and that comes with focus. As you grow from 50 grand a year to 100 to 200, whatever your goals are, it's about doing less. It's not about doing 1 million more things. It's about doing less. I want you to think of it like this. There are a couple of things you need when I talk about focus. I want you to think of 1 target market. So not 27 people you want to help, but 1. Then I want you to think, what's their number 1 problem? You know, if we're talking about stay-at-home mums aged between 25 and 35, their number 1 problem will be lack of time, confusion, guilt around leaving the kids, whatever it might be. So think, okay, of my main target, what's their main problem? Now, from that main problem will come one program you can offer them. So stay-at-home mums, main problem, poor time, overwhelm, confusion. So let's give them a super simple program that's 12 weeks and 20-minute workouts a day in their living room, right? So one target, one problem, and then we want to design one program for them. How many programs? One. You don't need 27 programs to offer them. One target market, what's their main number one problem, and then let's design one main program for them. It's that simple. And then lastly, we need one way to get in front of them. So we can call this a traffic source, we can call it a funnel, whatever you like. Again, you don't need 27 things to get in front of these people. You need one main source. That's it. You can grow a $300,000, $500,000, $750,000 business per year with these 4 things dialed in. Don't overcomplicate it. I've got a theory on this that smart people want to make really, really complicated plans. So that if the plan doesn't work, if they don't succeed, they have something to blame. Right? Instead of getting really, really simple and then executing these 4 things super, super well. Okay? So that's all about focus. You don't need to be doing 10 million things at once. That's not how you grow a great business. Think of one target and their main problem, and then let's design one program and one way to get eyeballs in front of them, whether it's paid ads, content marketing, whatever it might be. Let's just choose one and then dial it in, okay? All right, after focus, we're up to number 7. I want to talk about being a specialist. You've got to be a specialist in this day and age. The days of being a generalist are over. When I started personal training back in 2001, I pretty much took on anybody with a wallet and a heartbeat because I thought I wanted to be all things to all people. Instead of going really wide with who you train, athletes, stay-at-home mums, junior school kids, rehab repair athletes, bodybuilder competitors, whatever it might be, instead of going wide with them all, let's go really narrow. Let's just choose one and then go deep. What I mean by going deep is you try to dominate that niche, right? So instead of trying to be all things to all people, you choose one really narrow target, but then you go deep and you try to get lots of them. So I want you to think narrow and deep, not shallow and wide. Let me tell you a quick story. When I first started doing retreats overseas, many years ago now, there wasn't many people doing them, but I was trying to appeal to all people. On my very first retreat, I had, a 17-year-old and then a lady in her late 60s. Now you can imagine a group of that diversity of age and ability and even taste of food and everything. I was trying to design workouts that would appeal to a 16-year-old and an almost 70-year-old. It didn't quite work. After that, I narrowed in my focus. I chose a 10-year age bracket and decided to dominate that niche for my retreats. The following retreats were booked out. They were easier to design because I was just appealing to one specific type of person, and I could charge a premium for those because it was seen as a specialist retreat for that area. So instead of going shallow and wide, I want you to go narrow and I want you to go deep, and I want you to try to become the number one in that almost a micro niche, okay? Now, if you're just starting out, you might be taking on all types of clients to see who you like dealing with, to see who you get the best results with. But after that, there's no excuse to do this anymore, okay? Narrow your focus, go super deep, and then dominate that exact niche. Okay, we're moving on to number 8. I want to talk about growing your list. Today, everyone's obsessed with getting more Instagram followers or getting more likes on their fan page. Now, all that matters, but here's the thing. You're building your property on somebody else's real estate. Wouldn't you prefer to build something that you own, that you have control over? What if Instagram tomorrow changed their policies entirely? What if Facebook tomorrow changed the whole algorithm again? It's out of our control. One thing that's in your control 1,000% is your list, your email list, and your list is king. So sure, whilst you're trying to increase numbers and engagement on those social media platforms, still get them over to a list that you own, that you control. And then if someone changes the laws or the rules, it doesn't matter because you are going to own that. So every single time you give away a funnel or a cheat sheet or a program or whatever it might be, add people to your list. Put current clients on there. Put past clients on there. And several times a week, email your list. If I was taking control of your marketing, I would email 3 times a week as a minimum. One of those could be just backlinking to the videos you produced this week. Another one might be a great story, and the third one might be a quick tip for the week, whatever it might be. But be consistent. Build your list and be consistent 2 or 3 times a week. Consistently email them out. Now, most people won't do this because they're lazy, 1, and 2, they're obsessed with likes on their page. But likes won't pay the bills, okay? Use your likes, use your engagement on those different social media platforms to bring them over to your list. List building is king. Okay, we're up to our final 3. Now, Facebook, specifically Facebook videos, are going to be super powerful in 2018. Something like, it's going to be 200% growth or more in Facebook videos over the next 1 to 2 years. And what I know for a fact is that Facebook love videos. If I put a video up versus a written post up, they're going to show my video to more people. So I want you to get comfortable shooting video like this with just an iPhone or with your computer camera, okay? Get comfortable doing that. Get comfortable shooting 30-second or 1 minute or 2 minute videos, giving quick tips, giving a behind-the-scenes tour of your facility or your home office or whatever it might be, of your kids making a smoothie, okay? Video is king. They don't have to be super professional, like I referred to in point number 2, being transparent and being real and being vulnerable. 99% of my videos are shot on an iPhone with no microphone. So don't think you need to get super fancy, or don't wait till you get a fantastic camera before you do this. Your iPhone is just fine to use. Now, people love video because they see the real you. They see you. You can't fake it. People can pick up if you're faking it on video. So be you, be consistent, be authentic, and like I shared earlier, be vulnerable. Yeah, when you're transparent and vulnerable and people see the real you, it humanizes you and we can relate to you. Okay, so videos are king. Now, I want you to think big. No matter how big you're thinking at the moment, I want you to think bigger than that for 2018. Okay? I'll do what like Tony Robbins used to do in his tape. He'd pause the tape and he'd say, have you done that yet? Have you done it? Go back and do it now. But I want you to think bigger before you go any further. How can you 5x or 10x, or how can you double your business over the next 12 months? It's probably not as hard as you think, but it all starts up here, okay? You need to see yourself as a successful businessman or businesswoman crushing things and doing super well. You need to see yourself as someone running this amazing business, changing plenty of lives, and it all starts with thinking bigger and seeing yourself as that person so you can step into that role. If you still see yourself as just a little personal trainer, it's going to be hard for you to step up and to move forward and to step into that role that you need to have more impact. One of the best ways you can think bigger is to get some coaching. The amount of doors that have opened up from me in investing in mentors or buying programs or flying around the world. I've flown all around the world to meet with mentors, and the people you meet, little golden nuggets of information you get and the strategies always pay for themselves 10 times over. So I want you to think bigger. I want you to think, who can be a mentor for you? Who can you get some coaching from so you can speed up your pathway to success? And lastly, my final tip and prediction of how to dominate 2018 is those trainers and fitness professionals who turn pro. I got this phrase from Stephen Pressfield, one of my favorite authors, and he writes about choosing the day and the moment you actually decide to turn pro. The amateur puts things off. The amateur procrastinates and doesn't take action on their goals. The amateur wastes half their day scrolling through Facebook, fixing stupid things on their website that don't actually matter. What does the pro do? The pro takes action. Yeah? The pro doesn't mess about. She takes action every single day. And when they do that, when they're working, they're working. Their distractions are off. Their email notifications are off. They've shut down social media and they're getting stuff done. They're actually doing the stuff they said they will do and they're turning professional. Here's another thing about turning pro. You have to love the journey. You're going to have so many highs and so many lows. You're going to have people try to screw you over. Maybe staff members or clients do bad things or try to do bad things to you in your business. When you decide to turn pro, none of that matters. You know that's going to happen. In fact, you're almost going to expect that to happen to you, every week or every month. And you're there saying, bring it on. I've decided to turn pro. And no matter how long this takes, whether it takes me 6 months or 10 years, I'm going to build my dream business. And that's the attitude about turning pro. When you decide to turn pro, you'll remember the moment. You'll know where you are and, the day it was and where you were when you decided to turn pro and to stop complaining, to stop bitching, to enjoy the journey and to know there are going to be setbacks. And look, if it came easy, if everyone had $1 million fitness business, it wouldn't really be worth it. But when you decide to turn pro, stuff happens, right? You're more committed. You attract more committed clients and staff members into your life, and you can build your dream business, but you have to turn pro. That's it for today, my friends. My top 11 trends and predictions of what I think will be happening in 2018. I hope you enjoyed this. Take care. Talk soon.